Williams Jr. placed the barrel of a firearm to the back of BP's head and ordered him and RD to leave the control room and the studio through the west entrance of the office building. RD then instructed CW and TD to escort them to their vehicle. As the victims left, MM turned to Williams Jr. and asked him if they were really taking his watches. Based on later recovered surveillance video footage, the target suspects left the studio and the office building through the east entrance at approximately 4:48 p.m. So a bunch of questions here. Bradford, I'll first start with this. If this alleged recording of RD signing the contract against his will, what should we be thinking about that?
So far I haven't seen the recording, nor does anyone have a copy of the recording as of now. I don't know if there ever will be a copy of that recording. There has been no copy of the alleged contract that has been signed, nor has one been provided during the bond hearing. And they have actually said they don't know if one even exists. They suppose one exists. That's that part of it. Then the interesting part about, hey, am I really having my watches stolen? That's kind of a weird statement to be made between these individuals. And then what I think also is really important is the sloppiness of the complaint. At the beginning of the complaint, if you read, it says this robbery occurred at approximately 4:50 p.m. at this address. Then later on in the complaint, it says they all left at 4:48 p.m. at this address. So even the sloppiness of the complaint is quite shocking when it comes to someone who's getting charged with a life felony. That's just one mistake that was made in that complaint. There's others that were made and contradictions that happened during that complaint that were very unusual. But there's also another part where they say that Pooh held this gun to somebody's head and said all these different things. And then there's another part of the complaint that says, actually, he told one guy, hey, put your gun down, don't shoot this guy or something like that. So there's a lot of contradicting statements that were made within the complaint, not to mention how sloppy the complaint was put together. And during the bond hearing, I think very smartly, they had the FBI agent that actually wrote that complaint. She's only been an FBI agent for 3 years. They had her in the courtroom, but they didn't want to put her on the stand to be cross-examined. They put another FBI agent who was like a 16-year FBI agent. They put her on the stand to testify as to what the other FBI agent wrote in her complaint. The whole thing was quite unusual. And like I said, it's weird that they would do this without an indictment and just a complaint, but I have my suspicions as to why.
Well, this